Hey y'all, welcome back for another video on the Books and Sweet Tea YouTube channel. I just want to say thank you so much for all of you who have subscribed, who have commented, left me some fantastic insights and recommendations. I truly appreciate you. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of these videos if this is something that you like, if you're into talking about some really cool books. Today, I wanted to get into a couple of books that I've recently read. And when going back and thinking about them, it was just super easy to compare them. And I was like, maybe this is why I enjoyed them so much, because there are a lot of similarities that we can compare and also some things that we can contrast in a nice way. And they are what I think are two of the most powerful and complex novels of the 20th century: The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner and Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. Now, I haven't read either one of these before picking up these books and diving into them, so I didn't really know what to expect. But I have to say, I was blown away, and they've become two of my favorites. I read these two books back to back, which revealed an incredible dialogue between them. Though they do come from different worlds, both novels explore family, legacy, and the search for self amidst generations of struggle. So let's imagine a conversation between Faulkner's Compsons and Morrison's Deads. How do these two families, tied by their histories and broken narratives, reflect a legacy of resilience, identity, and fate? Let's start with the weight of family legacy. In The Sound and the Fury, we meet the Compson family, fractured and bound by their southern roots, haunted by their once proud past. Each character carries the burden of an idealized past and the ruins it's left behind. Faulkner's stream of consciousness style pushes us into their minds, making the family's unraveling feel visceral. In Song of Solomon, Morris's dead family faces their own historical weight, but here the focus shifts from personal despair to the search for cultural identity. Milkman Dead's journey is one not just of understanding family tragedy, but of discovering his roots, his place, and even his spiritual heritage. Morrison's prose is both poetic and showing how reclaiming the past can empower the future. So I've also got to touch on the theme flight of women. Now, these books weren't written during the same time period, but it's pretty interesting to recognize how a lot of the main women figures, the main women characters in these two books take off, leave the core family for kind of similar reasons. You've got Caddy in The Sound and the Fury, who's kind of doesn't fit the mold, at least in her mother's eyes, and is kind of forced to take off and leave behind a lot of things that I won't spoil here for you. But yeah, flight of women, definitely a big theme in Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. It's also a main theme in Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon. We have a lot of female characters in this book that aren't looked at as the best by the men of the family, and really forced to take off and leave those situations, whether it be physically or mentally, and not get their emotions involved anymore in the men of the family. I thought that was a huge comparison, and really what set off this talk about comparing these two novels. I thought it was super fascinating. And I mean, a lot of these issues have not really gone too far from where we are today when it comes to women and how they are forced into certain situations and possibly, therefore, forced to take flight. Next, let's talk about time. Both Faulkner and Morrison use time in fascinating ways that give their novels a unique rhythm. Faulkner's non-linear approach, with different perspectives from Benji, Quentin, and Jason, creates a fractured sense of time that mirrors the chaos and despair of the Compsons' downfall. It's disorienting but intentional. Time becomes a prison for the Compsons, who are trapped in cycles of regret and failure. In Song of Solomon, Morrison also plays around with time. It becomes a bridge between connecting the past and the present and the future. Milkman's journey to uncover his family's history takes him back to his roots, metaphorically and literally, as he searches for the legend of Solomon. Then there's the question of identity. In The Sound and the Fury, the Compsons struggle to find themselves outside the shadows of their own heritage. Quentin is especially obsessed with Southern honor and identity, even to the point of self-destruction. Faulkner uses Quentin's obsession to highlight a life governed by unbreakable traditions. Milkman's journey is a journey of self-discovery, but unlike Quentin, he's able to redefine himself. Morrison crafts Milkman's search for belonging in a way that turns his family curse into a legacy of resilience. It's an exploration of Black identity and history in a way that speaks to both an individual and a collective heritage. Finally, resilience. The Comptons represent a world where tradition leads to ruin, and the family's inability to adapt is part of their tragedy. But for the Deads, history becomes a source of strength. As Milkman digs into his roots, he doesn't lose himself, he becomes whole. So what do we get from this imagined conversation between the Compsons and the Deads, where the Compsons are lost in their fate and the Deads find hope through their history? Faulkner and Morrison, in their own styles and cultural contexts, use family legacy to explore how the past can be a chain or a source for liberation. These novels challenge us to ask ourselves what parts of our own history we carry forward and how we might turn them from burdens into strengths. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is family legacy fate or freedom? Thank you so much if you've made it this far into the video. I do appreciate it. If this is a video that you did like, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's totally free to do that. All right, y'all, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.